Bitwig 3.0, so that should be coming second quarter this year for a final release, but it'll be in a larger public beta in the near future. What we focused on is something we are calling the grid, which is essentially a modular sound design environment. So we've done a lot of modular things along the way, so we kind of paired that with our other twin passion of Swift workflows, and now we've put it together in a way that you can easily build synth sounds or audio processors or a performance set, whatever you like. Well, the grid is that environment. It's built into 3 devices, whether you're trying to build a polyphonic synth or something for processing. It's 2 things combined. It's a library of modules, about 120 of them so far, and then a bunch of workflow gestures so that you can create sounds in a quick way and then be tuning them immediately.
What's the advantage of having a modular environment within your
Sure.
DAW?
Well, for whichever type of user it is, if you like programming things from the ground up, you know, maybe you have a great idea that's not traditional. You know, if you need 2 oscillators and a filter, there's a lot of synths that could do it. But maybe you want something unique. You want a different wave shaper, or you want 6 noise generators, or you want to connect a bunch of different tracks and process them together and route them in different ways. It makes everything possible. That's kind of why we went with the grid analogy. It's kind of like there's no beginning or end. It's just wherever you start with it.
Can you give us a demonstration of it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we've already got it here on the screen, but I think maybe we'll just make a patch real quick from scratch. So if I go ahead, stop all that sound for a minute, I can create something new. I've got my grid category, and I can make a polygrid patch. So straight out of the bat, there's something default here. I'm already getting sound. I can already go ahead and start adjust the envelope a little bit, maybe change the tone of the oscillator. Maybe detune it a little bit, but in a stereo way, so now the left and right signals are independent. That's one funny thing. Every single connection in here is stereo, so it doesn't just save patch cables, it lets you do interesting modulation type gestures. So I talked about workflow being quick. I've got this to begin with. Maybe I want to try a fatter oscillator, something like a pulse wave. Just drop it on, it'll swap it out and keep the parameters where they were as much as it can. After that, let's try adding a filter. If I put it where I want it, it'll make the cable run through it automatically. Maybe I want a fun wave shaper to go in here. Maybe I don't like that effect, I delete it. The patch cord gets put back immediately. I mean, kind of, the approach here is that the sound should continue so you can keep working on it, as opposed to, oh, I deleted one module. I probably didn't want to kill my audio altogether. So I'm showing it from this point of view because, yes, you could build big and advanced things, but just as much, I think people who might be intimidated by this kind of environment, we've tried to make it as smooth as possible so everyone would be interested in trying it. Got some examples over here already. So I could go from something that's just a nice simple stereo sound. You kind of see this step sequencer moving that's following, in this case, the cutoff. If I change the LFO shape, patterns change immediately. So it would be fine for any kind of synth you want to do, polysynth, monosynth. Beyond that, could do something like this little drum machine I've got going here. So I've got 3 parts. If I put it back into double time. So kind of a couple different types of hi-hats. I could change the tone up. Quickly, it turns into something performable. You grab a couple knobs. You could do this from stage. Works in the studio and the stage. Yeah, anywhere. we'll be starting a public beta. We're already doing internal testing. We'll be starting a public beta, hopefully a few weeks after NAMM, when we wrap up here. And then we're aiming for a release in Q2 of this year.